All right, I think we are live. Let me double check the sound here. It's a late one today. It was a long day. I had a lot of work, and I actually have more work to do after I do this, but I definitely wanted to keep my word to myself and do another live stream. Doing a live stream every single day for the next 2 years, come heaven or hell. And yeah, it's today's I think the latest I've ever streamed because of the fact that I had a lot of work to do all day, and yeah, it was a busy day. Wonder why. Let me check here. Well, that's okay. Let me see. If I'm streaming on Facebook, I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm also streaming on. I usually stream on Twitch, but today I'm not streaming on Twitch because I'm not going to play video games today. It's one of those rare days where I don't actually play video game all day, which makes me sad. But at the same time, I'm happy because I'm working on something important here on my business end, which is good. I'm just going to share it on my personal Facebook page. Okay, so I'll post this there. So yeah, so how you guys doing? How was your Wednesday hump day? It's so funny because my days are all basically the same. I thought today was Friday. For at one moment, a friend came over to pick up my chessboard to borrow to go play at a cafe, and I was like, "So what are you doing this weekend?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" Or he asked me, "What am I doing this weekend?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And I was thinking like tomorrow's the weekend. I'm like, "Oh, there's a YouTube cover band at this bar or whatever that we should go watch," and then we realized we were both kind of lost. And that's what Medellin does to you, especially if you're a digital nomad or if you work online, etc. It'll you can kind of lose track of the days because, for example, I work every single day, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it doesn't matter. I work and I do some sort of work every single day, and most people that I know are the same way because they are either entrepreneurs, they have businesses, etc. So it's very similar, and we lose track of days sometimes. So it's kind of funny that way. But yeah, today's topic is a fun one. It's something that I think about a lot, and I talk to friends about a lot. You know, the reasons why people stay in Medellin and some of the reasons why people don't stay in Medellin, or at least in not only Medellin, but in Colombia as a whole. Um, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons as well. Even though the media paints Colombia in a negative light in many regards, it'll there are a lot of positives to it. And even though some of the expat groups and such paint it in a really positive light, there's also some drawbacks to it. So let me just double check here on the streams on YouTube as well. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're good there. Medellin Buzz, I'm also streaming live on the Medellin Buzz Facebook page. So feel free to make comments or ask questions as I go through this. Here. So I'm going to start recording. I'll take this off. These are recorded and then I edit them, or I don't edit them, but my editor will edit them, and we post them on my YouTube channel. It's gaining traction. I'm at about 200 subscribers now, which is traction for me because a month ago I started with 0. And so you're able to see with your own eyes the evolution of this channel, the monetization of the channel eventually once I get to 1,000 subscribers, and the growth in the message as well. Not only do I want to speak about business and travel, to Medellin, but I also want to speak about motivational topics. I always want to have positive, good energy, good vibes. So no matter what you listen to, whether it's something about business or digital marketing that maybe you can't relate to, at least there will be a positive message of hope, of faith, of motivation, that you can grab something from, right? That's my goal in creating this channel. It's to enlighten and motivate, and at the same time, it's therapeutic for me. This is a form of personal development for me, and I love the journey. I love the fact that I'm doing this, and every day I wake up excited to do another live broadcast, even if it was a day like today where it was full. Since the morning, I was just working all day, didn't go to the gym, have not eaten. I've only eaten once today. I actually forgot to eat dinner. It's already 9 o'clock almost. And now that I think about it, I am hungry. But that's what work and that's the type of person I am. I get obsessed with things, and sometimes I forget to do important things like eat. So if you've never been in a situation where you're working so hard on something that you forgot to eat, then you should probably reevaluate your passions, your situation in life, what you're working on right now, because that happens to me, or it's happened to me various times in my life. It happened to me back in 2006 when I first joined a multi-level marketing company, then 2008 when I was working for a law firm, and then 2014 when I started this digital marketing company with Joel, and 2016 when we got fed up with working with local businesses and pursued drug and alcohol rehab centers in the United States. And then now I'm back to that obsessive mentality over a project, which is building my brand and creating digital marketing courses, creating a YouTube channel, and creating a real estate investment company and real estate property management company here in Medellin. So I'm obsessed, and I can't stop thinking about it and working on it. And I even told Joel yesterday when we were having coffee, I'm like, I feel like I'm back to 2016 where I didn't want to do anything but work. I don't want to do anything but focus on this, because I know that if I focus on this for the next 2 years, the rest of my life is going to be set up. I have this gut feeling inside that tells me I can't go travel this year. I can't take time off for the next 2 years, because if I give up everything for the next 2 years for these businesses, I'll be able to have the rest of my life pretty easy. And even though right now I could have, my plan for this year was to travel. It was to go to Europe, go to Asia, discover new places, take a cruise. I've never been on a cruise in my life. Because of the fruits of our labor at the digital marketing company and now our real estate investments and other investments, something inside me, my gut, call it intuition, has told me that no, this is not the time to rest. And I actually just remembered one of Kobe Bryant's quotes. He said that you don't rest in the middle, you rest at the end. And it's not the end yet. That we're still in the middle of developing something amazing. So I'm currently working on that, and it feels great. So I'm going to start recording and talk about the 3 reasons to live in Colombia and the 3 reasons not to live in Colombia. So there are 3 reasons, but they're both good and bad at the same time, or could be good and could be bad for some people at the same time. And these reasons come out from me meeting people over the last 11 years that have come to Colombia, and they're not Colombian, or they are Colombian, like second generation Colombians like myself. Well, I'm first generation, but I never lived in Colombia. I was just born here and then shipped off to the US and lived there for 26 years and then came back. And some people have fallen in love with it and made it their hub, their home. They still travel or go back to the United States or Europe or Australia. I know people from all over the world that this is their hub, And they'll go back and forth sometimes, but this is what they call home now. And then there are others that tried that and it didn't work out for them. There were too many things that were wrong with the country. There were too many things that were wrong with the people. There were too many things that weren't first worldish for them that they up and left and took their Colombian bride with them in many cases. So let me start recording here. Welcome to another episode of Life Hacks with Andrew. I'm Andrew Messia. Today we're talking about the 3 reasons to live in Colombia and the 3 reasons not to live in Colombia. There are many reasons to live in Colombia, and equally, there are many reasons not to live in Colombia. After 11 years here, I've come across tons of people that fall in love with the country and stay. I've also met many people that have come across the country, stayed a while, and left for good, including Colombians. Today I'm going to go over the 3 reasons why people live in Colombia and why they don't live in Colombia. Like I said before, I've been here 11 years, so I've met a lot of people that have come through and fallen in love with the country and made it their hub, made it their home, even though they travel either back and forth to their home country or travel the world. They always come back to Colombia because they've bought a property here, they started a business here, and they have employees here, or they just love it so much that they call this home, yet they travel, so they always come back. But equally, I've met a lot of people that tried that. They lived here for a couple months, maybe a year, maybe a couple years, and decided that this wasn't the country for them to settle in, to raise their children. So they up and leave for good. So let's talk about the 3 reasons. The first reason I want to go over, and this is in order, by the way. So the first reason is the food. Growing up in a Colombian household, I love Colombian food. I'm vegan now, but when I was growing up, I wasn't. I grew up eating sancocho, sudado de pollo, ajiaco, mute, arepa, empanadas, buñuelos, almojábanas, tamales, tamal tolimense, tamal paisa, tamal chocuano. The good thing about my household is that my dad was a cook, or is a cook. We actually had a Colombian restaurant at one point in Southern California. So he learned how to cook every dish that Colombia has to offer, or at least most dishes that are popular in Colombia. So growing up, I was able to eat many traditional foods and loved them. I loved the food. It was amazing. And granted, I grew up in Southern California where Mexican people are very prominent and the Mexican culture is very prominent. And I still loved Colombian food. I grew up drinking café, chocolate con queso, jugo de mora, jugo de guanábana, jugo de mango, jugo de piña, jugo de lulo, all exotic fruits. I grew up even in the United States, in California. Obviously, you would have to buy the pulp frozen because you can't get a guanábana or a lulo to maintain its integrity enough to be able to ship over there, even to this day. But you could get the pulp, and my mom would make those every day. That was a part of life. So food in Colombia is pretty cheap when you get here. If you don't know it, because in London you don't frequent the Colombian restaurant, you never have been, but you came across Colombia and you sat at a table and they gave you this giant plate of bandeja paisa with a giant chicharrón, morcilla, salchicha, arroz, arepa, frijol, aguacate, and maybe a banana on the side. You might fall in love with that. And I've met various people that was their experience. They sat down and they're like, oh my God, I love this food. This plate of sancocho comes with 3 side dishes. Or this ajiaco comes with creamed milk and capers and rice on the side and a banana. So the food here is what I would call comfort food. And it's very cheap. It's very cheap when you go to the grocery store. You can find many variations of fruits and vegetables, many of which you won't be able to find growing naturally in the United States or in Europe. So when people first get here and they see the food, their eyes light up. They want to try everything, and it's amazing, and it's a great experience for many people. I would even go as far as saying most people have a positive experience with Colombian food when they first meet it. To me, Colombian food reminds me of my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my aunt. They were the ones in my family that cooked the most of my life. For example, arroz con pollo will always remind me of my mom. Pollo sudado will always remind me of my grandma. And a hot chocolate in the morning with changua will always remind me of my father. That being said, the main ingredients in Colombian food are salt and nostalgia. I've had foreign friends come to Colombia and try bandeja paisa with chicharrón and morcilla and fall in love, like I said. But very soon, that food may get boring. Colombian food is not Mexican food. Colombian food is not Argentinian food. Colombian food is not Peruvian food. Colombian food is, like I said, salt and nostalgia for the most part. Colombians do not eat spicy foods. They don't use exotic seasoning. As a matter of fact, many Colombians won't eat or even try new foods. If you try to, for example, cook a tikka masala, there may be some Colombians that, and not even some, I would even venture to say many Colombians that wouldn't even try it or will try it and make an ugly face and then say, no, I don't want that. It's happened to me before where I've invited someone to go eat or I've cooked something that's not typical Colombian because I like to cook as well. Again, I'm vegan, so I love to cook curries, noodle dishes, etc., especially Indian food and some Thai stuff, which are spicy, and you have to use curry, masala, 5-spice, etc. And for them, that is very spicy for the Colombian palate. So some of them will try it and then be like, no, thank you. I don't want any more. It's very common. So as a foreigner living in Colombia, there will be a time when the honeymoon is over and all you want is a good burger or a good piece of steak or some curry or some pasta. Even though Colombia is a lot more eclectic and a lot more diverse than it was 11 years ago when I first got here, you'll still have a hard time finding a good piece of steak, a good curry, some good Thai food. It's not like, and there's a good reason for that. It's not because Colombians don't like it. It's because they haven't been exposed to it. It's not like there are many people from different cultures around the world flocking to Colombia for a better life like they do in the United States or in Europe. They're not coming here in groves, setting up little Saigons, little Italy, little Armenia in all the major cities like they do in the United States. So this is why you don't find a great variation of ethnic foods like you do in first world countries where people flock to go seek a better life and then bring their culture with them. The closest thing that we have to that right now are Venezuelans. And yes, they have improved the empanada. Not the empanada. They have improved the arepa. Venezuelans have improved the arepa. They know how to eat an arepa. Colombians are, the arepa is like a hockey puck for Colombia. I mean, if you've ever bitten a hockey puck, that's what a Colombian arepa is like. Unless if you go to Santander or closer to the Venezuelan border, where they stuff it with cheese or they stuff it with stuff inside, which is way better. So, and it's not functional. The arepa is not functional. It's not like a tortilla where you could use it as a utensil. It's like you either have to bite it or eat your other food, and it's just it doesn't work. I don't get it. I'm Colombian. I grew up with it, and I actually like the taste of of the arepa, but it's not functional. It's more of a nostalgia thing for us, I think. And when you do find ethnic foods here in Colombia, most of them will be catered to the mass audience, which is Colombians, not gringo foreigners that want to have a traditional Thai dish or a traditional Italian pizza or pasta. It's going to be catered to the Colombian palate, so it's going to be watered down. Again, the big ingredients in Colombia are salt and nostalgia. So that's the first reason why many people may love Colombia, living in Colombia and stay in Colombia, because of the food, the plethora of vegetables and fruits that you find, or may not stand living here anymore because they just want something better to eat. They may just want to be able to go to a restaurant around the corner that's amazing and it's ran by the Vietnamese family or the Italian guy or the Italian family that's lived there for 60 years now. That's not going to happen here. It's very rare. So that's number one, the food. And these are in order. So I guess that would be number 3 or whatever. We'll just say the food is the third reason. The second reason for why people choose to live in Colombia or not to live in Colombia are the beautiful people. And by people, I mean women. For me, I'm a single guy. So for me, the beautiful women, the beautiful people, for most, I guess for anyone coming here, the people in Medellin, mostly in Medellin, and it's been my experience throughout all of Colombia, is that they are very warm, they're very friendly, they're very joyful. They're some of the friendliest people on the planet that I've met. Granted, I haven't been to the whole planet, but they are very friendly and very nice and very warm. It's typical to know all of your neighbors' names, even to hang out with them on a weekend, or when they throw a party, they'll invite you over. That's very typical. They like to dance. They like to drink. They like to laugh a lot. They like to chismosear, just talk sometimes. I come from Southern California where beautiful people are abundant, but Medellin is very special when it comes to beautiful people. By people, I mean women. And in Southern California, if you've been to Southern California, there are very beautiful women in Southern California as well, but Medellin is special. There's something special about the people here, not only the women, but overall. For example, I'll give you some examples. For example, black people here are nice. In all of Colombia, black people are nice. I grew up in Southern California where there are a lot of black people, and there were black people in my school, and yeah, some of them were nice, but for the most part, black people, whenever you run into a black person, especially if you're younger, they usually have their guard up. They're usually harder. They're a little tougher. They have a tough exterior in the United States. It's probably because of the culture. The whole hip-hop rap culture is to be tough, to be hard, to look gangster and to act gangster. But here in Colombia, the first time I ran into like this big black guy and I was playing basketball, and he had a high-pitched voice because when you speak in Spanish, your pitch is higher. And he danced salsa, and he was super nice, super friendly from the get-go. It was like, oh, hey, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. Like super friendly, not like in the United States. If you meet a black guy on the basketball court, it's like he's going to try to check you first. And I mean, it's basketball. So, but regardless, my experience with black people was when I first got here was completely different than my experience with black people in Southern California. So yes, black people are super nice, and they're way different than the black people in the United States in character and attitude, disposition, etc. Metalheads are nice. I remember the first metal concert I went to here. A friend took me. I was teaching English in downtown Medellin, so we went to this playhouse that was having a metal concert, or like a little metal festival. Everybody was wearing leather jackets, steel-toed boots, long hair, tattoos, and I was like, fuck, if I ran into this, and literally because I was fresh into Colombia, and I was thinking what it would be like going, what it's like in the United States. You go to a metal concert, you're going to get into a mosh pit and probably come out scraped, bruised, bleeding, broken bone maybe or something. I mean, I've had all that happen to me in a mosh pit or in mosh pits in the United States. I love heavy metal. I love rock and roll music. So when I saw this big ass lineup, a big ass crowd, people drinking and smoking weed outside, because that's normal here in Colombia, in Medellin at least, I thought, oh shit, I don't know if I really want to go in here right now. I'm not ready to go into a mosh pit. But when I got there, they were the nicest people. They were sharing drinks, they were laughing, they were making jokes, cracking jokes. When the mosh pit started, they call it a pogo because everyone just bounces up and down. There's no fighting. I was like, damn, these people are even nice. Even the metalheads are nice. So people don't act hard here. And there's probably a good reason for that, because if you get in a fight with someone, you don't know who they are and if they're going to pull out a gun and kill you and never get caught, or stab you and never get caught. Or if they do get caught, there is no life sentence here. The maximum time you can do is 45 years. And with the overcrowding and good time, you could be out in 15. So it's not like there's a heavy consequence to grave physical damage to somebody. So that's probably why people don't, fight. It's probably ingrained in the culture because of that. You don't know who you're going to fight, in a public space. In the 11 years that I've been here, I've only seen 2 fights at a club. One in a bar, which was the Gringo bar. And it was a gringo that got way too drunk and rowdy after a UFC fight and watching guys fighting on TV. And he decided that he was going to fight and he got punched. Then he was kicked out. But other than that, I've only seen 2 other club fights, and one other one, it wasn't even a fight. It was just a gringo that was drunk. This was maybe like 6 years ago. Acting rowdy, went to the bathroom and shoved someone and got hit in the head over the bottle and split his whole face open. And then another one was one that I was involved in where we were getting kicked out of a club. We were drunk. My brother pushed one of the bouncers, and then we brawled with the bouncers for a while, and it was super fun. But other than that, I've never even seen another fight at a club. And it's probably for those reasons. You don't want to get in a fight in a club with someone because you don't know who they are, who they might know, who they might be, where they might be from, who their cousin is, who will come in a motorcycle and just shoot you in the head and then leave. It's not a good idea to fight. So yeah, people are different. People are beautiful here. People are nice. And the women, oh my God, the women. I've been here for 11 years and I'm still floored sometimes when I walk outside. I'm still in shock sometimes. Sometimes when I go to another country like Mexico, I can't wait to get back to the airport so I could see some Colombian women. It's insane. I don't know what it is, whether it's the water, the beans, the rice, whatever it is. Medellin's got it going on, that's for sure. And not only are they beautiful, but they're nice. They're approachable. They're not... The Me Too movement has barely started here. There are some Me Too stuff going on, but it's very, very far behind from what it is in the United States, where a woman, you've got to have a whole game plan, and you got to contact NASA to put up a blueprint so that you can make her laugh on the first pickup line so that she doesn't just turn around and ignore you, and emasculate you. That doesn't happen here. All you got to do here is this. When you're at a club and you want to dance, you just put your hand out. You don't even have to talk. She'll grab it if she wants to dance. If she doesn't, she'll say no, and that's fine. You just go to the next one, and they'll dance with you, and they'll talk to you. And if you're not a creepy dude and you're nice, she may give you her number, and you may be able to go out with her the next day or on the next weekend, etc. It's a lot different than what it is in the United States. Here, you don't really need to study the game. There is no game. The game is like, you're a nice guy and you know how to dance, you're going to get play. It's that easy. But yeah, the women are approachable and they're humble. Even the beautiful ones are. I come from Southern California where the beautiful women, I'll give you a case study. I did this since I was a teenager, and I started to love women, or my love for women exploded. And into my young adulthood in the United States up until I was 29 years old and I came to Colombia. I've always worked, and I've always worked early in the morning in Southern California. I would wake up at 5 in the morning sometimes to go to a call center at 6 or go to sell perfume on the street. So I was always up early in the morning on the freeway, on the street, driving, because everyone drives. Even when I was broke and homeless, I was living out of my car. Everyone has a car in Southern California. If you don't have a car, that's ultimate broke. But yeah, I was homeless and broke and still had a car to do the stuff I needed to do to hustle. But I never saw a beautiful woman driving in the morning before 12 o'clock. It never happened. It was very rare. And I'm talking about after high school, right? In high school, you see beautiful women because they got to go to school. But working, I never saw any beautiful women driving or let alone taking public transportation. Here, you can wake up at 5 in the morning and get in the metro at 6 in the morning and be floored at how many beautiful women there are going to work. And again, that's probably because the poverty rate is high here, minimum wage is low, so everyone has to work, and more than the average person has to take public transportation. So you're going to see a mass amount of people, and many of them will be women, and many of them will be beautiful. I think the statistics were that women outnumbered men 55 to 45% back in 2010 when I first got here. So maybe that's gotten a little bit more even, but still, the difference is noticeable. So that being said, the people, that's one of the reasons that people love it here. When they get here, they want to stay here. And more importantly, if you're a guy, when you see the women, you're like, I don't want to go back to fucking Texas. I don't want to go back to fucking Georgia and go, push around a whale. I want to go to Colombia. I want to be in Colombia. I want to figure out how I can sell all my fucking shit, get a job online, and live in Colombia because of this. I know I've seen it many, many times happen over and over again here in Colombia. Oh, and let me tell you, one of the best things that's ever happened to Colombia is Venezuelan women coming in flocks to Colombia. Venezuelan women are just as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than Colombian women. I think they've won the Miss Universe pageant many times. I mean, it's incredible. It's great. And they're even nicer, because most of the people that immigrate to Colombia from Venezuela aren't people with money and beautiful people that that have a ton of money and are uptight and pretentious. They're humble people that want an opportunity. So they're even nicer sometimes than the Colombian women. So yeah, Venezuelan women coming to Colombia is the best thing that's happened to Colombia since I was going to say Pablo Escobar, since Simón Bolívar. All that being said, Colombians are still Colombians. They are going to be flaky to the point where you will get annoyed, flaky to the point where you set up a business meeting and they will either flake on you and ghost you and never talk to you or respond to you, to the point where you set up an appointment to go see properties that you want to buy for $100,000 or more, and they'll miss the appointment, not tell you that they're not going to go, and not reschedule. And you're like, don't you want my fucking money? We come from a culture, if you're coming from the United States, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, or any other first world country, where if you make a business appointment and you miss it, that's your reputation on the line. You don't miss business appointments. It's very, very rare that you'll miss a business appointment. Someone has to be dying in order not to at least text or call someone, say, hey, I got a flat tire, I got in an accident, or hey, we need to reschedule type of thing. But here in Colombia, it could be very common that someone will flake on you, even when it's an important meeting, or even worse, or not worse, but even more annoying, setting up dates with women here. And there are reasons for why people are flaky here in Colombia, and a lot of them have to do with money and economics. For example, when you ask a woman out and you ask her to come to a restaurant, and you're thinking with your Western mentality, your first world country mentality, that she's going to find her way there, for her, it may be very expensive to go, from where she lives in the city to the restaurant and then back. That could be, half a day or a whole day's paycheck for her to get on a taxi and do that, especially if it's late at night and then there's going to be drinks and she doesn't know if you're going to pay, or she doesn't want to make you feel uncomfortable and say, hey, are you going to pay? So you've got to come up with, reasons, and you've got to come up with the plan. You got to say, hey, I got extra cash on my Uber. Let me know when you're ready and I'll send you the Uber, and I'll also send you back in the Uber. Don't worry about it. Or, yo te invito, I'll invite you. I'm treating you. That's what men do. I think that's how I was brought up. I was brought up by a Colombian dad, and women don't pay anything. And that's not because he's machista. He's actually very spiritual and open-minded and everything. But it's because he said that it's your responsibility as an adult, as a human. He treats my sister the same way. She says, if you go out somewhere, make sure you got money to pay. And if anything, you should be treating the guy. He loves that. So I was raised where if I'm inviting someone, even if it's a friend for a drink, I'm gonna buy them a couple drinks, maybe even the whole round or even the whole night or the whole bottle. I've done that before, and I do that very often. Most of my friends know how generous I am, even when I was broke. Um, so yes, Colombians will be Colombians. They will be flaky. They're proud. They're proud people. They're proud people almost to a fault, especially in Medellin. I speak about Medellin because I've lived here, 10 years, 11 years, and I know Paisas very well now. They are proud people almost to a fault, where they don't admit when they're wrong. They don't hold themselves accountable or own up to responsibility when they make a mistake. It's almost part of their culture to say, que pena, even though it was a big blunder, they say que pena, like, oh, what a shame. And that's it. They don't, and they don't own up. And it's like, oh my God, you just fucked up big time. Why can't you just tell me that you fucked up and say sorry? That's not in their culture. It's not in their DNA sometimes. And that can be very annoying for people. And I've had friends where they've had businesses here or business dealings where the paisa on their end fucked up so badly that it left a sour taste in my foreign friend's mouth and said, this would never happen in my country. If this happened in my country, that person would be fired, or I'd be able to sue and have recourse. But here, you don't have that. If you have a ton of money to hire an attorney and wait many, many months, maybe years, to figure out for a claim when you're trying to dispute money or to sue someone, then go ahead and do it. But it's going to cost you more headache and maybe even cost you more money to try to get that money back or get at that person than actually just letting it go and moving on with your life. And that happens a lot here in Colombia. Another thing about Colombians that some people discover and then don't, that is unflattering about Colombians, is that when someone has money, it's not unusual to try to take advantage of that person. There's an actual saying for that in Spanish, or at least in Colombian Spanish. Colombian saying is el marrano. You call him el marrano. It's like he's not really the sugar daddy. It's like almost like you're eating, like everyone gets to eat from the big fat pig. That's the way that they that's the idiom, I guess, or the expression or the saying for someone that has money and is being taken advantage of. So that's almost part of the culture as well. Now, I'm not saying everybody, again, stereotypes do tend to generalize, but there is some truth in these stereotypes. I've been here 11 years and I come from a Colombian family, so I know what this is like. And again, it comes from economics. If you see someone with money and you guys don't have money for food, it's very common. It could be very common where, hey, let's try to get something out of this person. Another thing that is unflattering is the amount of cheating that goes on in Colombia compared to the United States. In Colombia, for example, people can be very jealous, and both men and women, where they become almost obsessed with you or very jealous when they fall for you because they don't trust that you're going to be faithful. And it's with good reason, because in Colombia there is a culture of cheating on people. Both men and women cheat on each other. And even in the Colombian culture, there's a word for a guy's side chick or a girl's side guy. And that's the side piece. It's called el mozo or la moza. There's songs, there's novelas based around this whole notion that, and I've even come across, especially in like poor neighborhoods that we work in with Help Colombia, where, oh yeah, my husband and his other woman. I'm like, other woman? What do you mean? It's like, oh yeah, he has another woman and another family. I'm like, what? That's like crazy shit. Granted that in the United States, when poor neighborhoods, that happens a lot. But here, even in the affluent neighborhoods, or people that you would consider educated and people that have gone to university and stuff, will still cheat on each other and have side pieces, etc. It's almost part of the culture. And that can leave a sour taste in someone's mouth more than anything, if anything. When someone cheats on you or takes advantage of you and you've been faithful, I've seen it many times in Colombia where a guy, and it's mostly guys because most of the people that I meet that come here and stay here are guys, But I have had uh, a gringa friends as well, two in particular, that had two bad experiences with Paisa guys. And one not was not cheating. One was because of other issues like jealousy and crazy stuff, and then the other one was because of cheating. So it's not like I'm coming pulling this shit out of my ass. It's actual real stories that I've come across. One of my pet peeves in Colombia as well, and this could be kind of a deal breaker for some people, or maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back, is the very little sense of urgency that people have here. Life is very relaxed and very mellow compared to a bigger city like London, San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, where I come from, etc. It could be very slow paced. And that could be, that's usually a plus. Most people, when they get here, they're like, oh, I love it here because it's so relaxed. You know, everything is so slow paced and I can actually sit and have a coffee, you know, and talk to someone and play chess. And that's all great and everything until you're in a line of 15 people at the grocery store and the lady behind the cash register is talking to her friend and giggling and not even worried about who's in line or what's going on. The grocery store is not worried because they're not opening up any other lanes. And you're sitting there trying not to pop a blood vessel watching this lady move at a snail's pace. Not only at the grocery store, but let's say you need to go to the notary. One of my worst experiences and worst places to go to is the notary, or even worse is the bank. You would think that the bank would have some sort of system to operate a little bit faster than usual than some other places, but there's always going to be paperwork. There's always going to be a sense of no urgency of let me check for that. Let me go ask my superior. Sometimes it's just a flat no when you want to make a simple change. They won't even ask their superior. You will have to ask them to go ask their superior. A lot of the times it's not because they're lazy, it's just because I don't know what it is. I think it's just almost a lack of common sense in many people. And you'll see that not only people working in what you would consider pretty good positions like a bank teller or a bank administrator, a cash register person at the supermarket, because that is considered a good job here because you get benefits, you get salary, you get Social Security, etc. All of those are, you know, salaried jobs, and you would think that someone's training them to be more efficient. Let's turn over more tables. You know, you're a waiter. Let's turn over more tables. Let's not be rude to the customer, but that doesn't happen. So sometimes, and I've seen many of my foreign friends that come here, they grow impatient with that year after year. It's like some people, like myself, you become calloused. So when you go to a place where you actually get great service, like Mexico City or something, you're like floored. You're like, holy shit, I can't believe I got my... someone talked to me when I sat down within 30 seconds. Here in Colombia, it could be very possible that you go to a high-end restaurant. I'm not even talking about like the little menu del dia little restaurant. Those usually have pretty good customer service. I'm talking about like the higher end places where you may sit down and be there for, I've been 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I've timed it sometimes just out of curiosity, how long it's going to take for someone to come and take my order. That's very possible. So if you don't have patience, or if you don't learn to be patient, it could be something that can wear on you and make you want to turn your back on the country. The people are beautiful, nice, mellow, but it comes at a trade-off. Some people may not have the patience for Colombia. And finally, the number one reason for people either staying and loving Colombia and staying here forever, or leaving Colombia and not liking it, is the cost of living. If you make dollars or pounds or euros, the cost of living in Colombia is considerably low. If you're going to make a move and actually rent an unfurnished apartment through a rental agency, You can find 90, 100 square meter apartment in the nice area of the city here in Medellin with a security guard, parking space, amenities for about 500, 1,000, $1,500, depending on how luxurious the place is, and you're renting at the local prices because you went through a rental agency or directly with the owner and you negotiated like a paisa. It's very possible to get a $500 apartment. For example, here I live in El Poblado, which is the nicest area or one of the nicest areas of Medellin, in the neighborhood of Manila, which is just a block away from Parque del Poblado, a 5-minute walk to all the bars and restaurants and clubs and the nightlife in Provenza and Parque Lleras, etc. In a 5-story building without a security guard, in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with about 100 square meters, and I pay around $500. It was unfurnished, and I pay about $500. I have a dedicated fiber optic line with 150 megabytes of internet and of download and 60 megabytes of upload speed, and I pay about $100 a month. It's probably one of the better internet services available in the city. I have a cleaning lady that comes twice a week, and she cleans and makes food. She does the laundry. She does everything. I call her my mom, my Colombian mom, or my Medellin mom. I do have a Colombian mom, but my Medellin mom. And that runs me about $125 a month. I go to beautiful, trendy cafes. Every morning I go to a cafe to go work out of there, and my coffee and my soda water that I drink every morning cost me $4. I'm vegan, so fruits and vegetables are abundant. We live in a tropical country where you can find all sorts of food for cheap. And although I'm 6'3" and I can't really find, size 13 shoes or 36-inch length in pants very easily, buying them through Amazon and having them shipped here is relatively cheap. When I take a girl out to a restaurant or a club and have an appetizer, main course, a cocktail, the bill comes to about $40 for the both of us, maybe $60. If I really splurge $100, why would someone not like living in a beautiful place surrounded by mountains, greenery, wildlife, fruits, vegetables at a low cost of living? A lot of people do. A lot of people get here, and that's one of the biggest allures of the city and the country is the cost of living. Compared to where we come from, the cost of living here is very low. And you can live a high quality of life for lower than what you would be paying in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, and New Zealand, or any other first world country where cost of living can be high. But even though the cost of living is low here, it doesn't mean it can't get expensive. Over the past 11 years, I've met many people that just couldn't handle living in Colombia because of their vices. Alcohol, drugs, and prostitutes are also very cheap here. A gram of cocaine costs about $5 and it's the good shit, it's not the stepped on stuff. A half bottle of rum costs about $7 at the market. Obviously, if you buy it at a trendy or bougie bar or club, it'll be a lot more expensive. And to take a girl home for the night from one of the nicest strip clubs in the city could cost you $200, $300. So when you start thinking in dollars, or when you don't stop thinking in dollars and you think and not think in pesos, when you're thinking in dollars and pounds and euros, money can fly. And I've seen it a lot here, where guys that have money, they make money monthly, will spend it equally monthly, living like a king, like royalty, like a European, what do you call it? Like an ancient emperor, right? Bring me the women, bring me the food, bring me the drink, bring me the drugs. I've seen it, and money flies. It's very easy to think in dollars. It's very easy to think in pounds. It's very easy to think in euros. But money will start flying. Just because the cost of living in Colombia is low, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to ball out every weekend for the rest of your life. If you can't check yourself, you're better off just visiting, for a month, for a weekend even, and not staying here permanently. I've seen it. I've seen people get here, they ball out for 3 months, and they're like, fuck, I got to get out of here because I've got no more money. Or my health is deteriorating because I'm doing too much drugs and alcohol. Furthermore, the cost of living in Colombia is low because it's a poor country. According to a 2021 report by Bloomberg, more than 43% of the population in Colombia lives in poverty. That's a lot of people. There's about 50 million people in Colombia. That means 25 million of them, almost 25 million of them, are living in poverty. And I'm sure that there's a big gap between the rich and the poor. It's evident in Colombia, and also the middle class. Even though the middle class has grown, the middle class in Colombia is not the same as the middle class in Europe, in the United States, in Australia, New Zealand. It's very, very different. Whether it's people performing, so the cost of living is low because we live in a poor country. This is a developing nation, a third world nation. You're not going to escape the poverty. You're not going to escape the poverty in Colombia. No matter how much money you have and where you live here, you're not going to escape poverty. Whether it's people performing on street corners, entire families begging for money as you eat lunch, or a homeless person sleeping on the sidewalk in front of your building, you're not going to escape poverty in Colombia. For some people, this can be stressful. Seeing all this poverty and not being able to do anything about it and help, it can cause some people not want to be here. I'm going to repeat that for my editor. Seeing all the poverty and not being able to do anything about it and help can cause someone to not want to be here. I've seen it happen. Some people just get straight up annoyed by the same people asking them for money every single day when they go to lunch. Another trade-off for the low cost of living is the high homicide and crime rate in Colombia. Petty crime is so common here that there's a special saying for the victims of crime, which is, don't give papaya. Don't no dar papaya. Oh, you were robbed because you were giving papaya, because you were making yourself an easy target. Where in the United States, it's very unusual to victim blame. Like, oh, your phone got robbed? Let's call the police. Let's file a report. Here, it's like, fuck, the police ain't going to do shit. You got robbed because you had your phone out at the cafe where you go work at every day, and you went to the bathroom and left it on the table. That's what you get for being unaware and giving papaya. So there is a custom, or I guess it's a culture of victim blaming to offset the high crime rate, or petty crime rate. Homicide rate is high, but we don't see that as foreigners because most of the homicides that occur are amongst Colombians and mostly gangs, territories, etc. People in the jungle fighting, etc. So petty crime is so common that there is a saying like, don't give papaya, don't make yourself a target, because the robber is probably not going to get caught. So it's your fault for making yourself too much of a temptation for someone to steal from you. Some people may not like the fact that they have to be extra vigilant of their things when they go out, or be mindful of when they take their phone out, take an Uber even though they're just a few blocks away from their Poblado apartment. So yes, the low cost of living is a very attractive reason to live in Colombia, but it comes with trade-offs. After all, it's a third world country. So those are the 3 reasons why some people love to live in Colombia and some people have left. In the 11 years that I've been here, I've seen all of these situations. For the most part, people like Colombia, but not everybody stays to live, not as long as I have. because there are major trade-offs. And I haven't even gotten to the major trade-offs, for example, like taxation in Colombia. Well, there's a reason why people don't flock here to start a business. It's not a tax haven, that's for sure. But I'll get to those in a later episode. I thought today would be a fun episode where we're talking about the 3 reasons why I love Colombia and some of the things that do bother me about Colombia. The first one was the food. I love the food. I'm vegan, so I don't really have any beef with the food right now because, no pun intended, I don't have beef because I don't eat beef and I don't eat pork and I don't eat chicken. I don't eat any meat. I don't drink milk or any animal product. So for me, I could care less about the food at this stage in my life. But when I was first here and I wasn't vegan and the honeymoon was over after the first 2 years, I was like, fuck me. I just want like a good hamburger. I just want a good piece of steak cooked medium. Granted that now there are more restaurants and there's more eclectic scenes out here. It's still not what you would expect in the United States or in Europe, etc. And I've seen it, and people do get annoyed by it. And it's like, all right, just either get over it or get the hell out of the country. The second reason was because of the beautiful people. And by beautiful people, I mean the women. Guys stay here because they love it. But I've seen a lot of guys stay here and fall in love and get married to a Paisa woman or a Colombian woman and then take her right back to their country because they can't stand living here in Colombia. I've also, and the number one reason for me, I think, is the cost of living. A lot of people stay here, and most people that you talk to will say that they stay here because of the low cost of living, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's a low cost of living because there's a lot of poverty, and some people can't stand the fact that this is a poor country and they can't really do anything to help. There's not much you can do. And it gets to the point where now you have Venezuelan refugees that are seeking asylum in Colombia, and those aren't the best people that come from that country. Some of them are great, amazing. Almost half our staff are Venezuelan, and they're awesome, hardworking people. But just like in the United States, in California, there's a mass amount of Mexicans that come, and they're amazing people, amazing culture. But then you do have those that become gang members and kill people or steal and dirty up your fucking corner over here, etc. It does happen. So there is a trade-off. So those are the 3 reasons why people live in Colombia and why people leave Colombia. I hope you guys liked this. If you loved the content or if you liked the content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look up Andrew Macia. Thank you and have a great day. All right, I finished recording. 47 minutes, not bad. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. LOL. I remember that one. I came here 10 years ago. When I came. Which one, Oscar? You can't just give me. Oh, wait, what? 29th minute. I don't know what I was talking at the 29th minute. Dave said, like Eddie Murphy says in The Church in Coming to America, I'm very happy to be here. That is a sick shirt, by the way. Oh, yeah, go to Bohío Playa. Yeah, there's brands that are making them. Fuera de lo común, out of the ordinary. It's called Fuera de lo común. They sell it here. In Provenza, they have a shop. And then one of my favorite places is Bohío Playa in Oviedo. And they also have different spots, one in Envigado. And at some of the hostels, the big boutique hostels like Los Patios, they have it on the floor. They have like displays where you can get these. These are awesome. I love them. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, so yeah, there are many reasons to live in Colombia, and there's many reasons not to live in Colombia. But for me, the pros outweigh the cons, at least for now. I love it here, and I definitely will continue to live here for now until, I don't know. I think the deciding factor for a lot of people is marriage and kids. Like when you start raising kids, for example, I know a couple here that have lived here for many years, and they have a business here. They have multiple businesses here. He's from New Zealand, and she's Colombian, and they've lived here, and now they have young kids. and the kids are getting ready to go to school, and she's like, I don't want my kids to go to school here. I want my kids to go to school in New Zealand. That's like the Colombian dream, is for your kids to grow up somewhere else and have better opportunities. I'm like, that makes sense. So a lot of the times it comes down to, family, raising a family. It's like, yeah, the living here as a bachelor, the low cost of living, being able to save money and invest my money in high return investments while keeping my expenses low is very attractive to me. I love that. And I think I'll always have that here in Colombia. But I think about it when I do have kids, or if I, marry or fall in love with a woman that has a kid, and I adopt the kid as I would I want to raise the kid here, and have him go to school here? Yeah, maybe grade school. There's many grade schools and even better schools here, like private schools that are amazing. But for example, university, even high school, I would, especially if they were into sports, other than maybe soccer, but if it were any sport and any chance of getting a scholarship somewhere in the United States, I would send my kid to high school there, or in Europe somewhere, right? Or in Australia, or somewhere where that college degree will have way more weight than a college degree from Colombia around the world. And it's just, it's just the fact of that matter. Yeah, if you think about it, well, what would you do? What would you do if you had kids? Would you raise them here? I know some people that are raising their kids here. They're still young. I do have a friend that has a kid, and he's going to a private school. He's in grade school, and it's a bilingual school, and it's amazing. And the kid's super smart, so maybe that is a good route. But as I'm going to see as that kid gets older, is he going to be going to high school and university here? I beg to differ. If I talk to my friend and ask him that, and I'll ask him that next time I see him, which will probably be tomorrow night. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I actually have to get back to work, and I have to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow because I do train in the morning basketball. I'm looking very much forward to getting back into basketball shape, although I'm in decent shape, but I used to be, even just a year ago, in way better shape. My tournament games have started, and I am, for a 41-year-old, in much better shape than most of the 41-year-olds, but I play with 25-year-olds and 30-year-olds, so I need to get up on my game. And that's another thing, talking about low cost of living. I pay my guy, what is it, like $10, $12 for an hour and a half session of hardcore basketball one-on-one training, and he is the professional coach, abilities and skills coach for the professional basketball team here in Colombia. That's amazing. Like, you would not get that deal in the United States. And he was just in the United States because he also works out there. So it's not like he's just a guy that knows some basketball and he's going to teach you. He's an actual coach who's been doing this for 20 plus years. So it's super fun. I can't wait. I can't wait to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow and go do that. So I have to finish some work. I'm glad that you guys watched this. I'm doing a live episode every single day. The topics will vary from lifestyle, travel, business, inspiration, motivation, and masturbation. So I hope you guys tune in next time. I'll see you tomorrow.